Okay, sorry folks, had some technical difficulties here. We're going to do it once more with more feeling this time. Alright, hey, welcome back everyone. This is the Paladin's Tavern. My name is Joe, and we're going to be getting into some character creation for Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition. Now normally, what we would do is we'd have our session tonight. However, we are unable to do so. Didn't have time to put our character sheets together, and I thought, hey, you know what, might actually be a really good time to show those of you watching at home exactly how to do this. It's not as difficult as you might think, especially in D&D 5th edition, and you know, can walk through it pretty quickly. So when I say we, who do I mean? I mean myself and my beautiful wife Jenny, who is here with us today. Say hello, hon.
Hello.
There we go. Now we got you. Before we attempted this, and we had a microphone issue. Okay. All right. So, let me show you guys what we're going to be filling out. Bring this over here. Okay, so I've got a bunch of a bunch of PDFs here. We're not going to be filling out all of these. It's just the same thing in very different forms. But we're going to be filling this sucker out. Okay, and this looks like a lot, but it's actually not. It's just highly organized information. There's not a lot of information that goes on here, though. Just we'll get through it. Don't worry. It fills itself out real quick. Jukaholic, what's going on Twitch? Says the Paladin's Tavern. How's it going? Let me guess. The drinks are the blood of the host, and the burgers are the flesh of the host. Not quite. No, it's the Paladin's Tavern, not a mass. Okay. So, all right. So, hun, you said you don't have this this character sheet on your side, right?
I don't have a paper copy. Did you email it to me?
Yeah. Let me do that for you right now. So I'm gonna email this over to Jenny. And if anyone is interested in following along, I'm also going to be adding the PDFs on the Discord channel. So instead of doing a session tonight, we're gonna have kind of like a laid back character creation sort of a stream. So the one thing that you really want is this page 1 here. But let me show you the other one that you want as well. Details. Spellcasting sheet. Open this one up too. There we go. Okay, so this is page 1, and this is all of your character's basic information. You would be on this if you're playing D&D 5th edition. You're going to be on this 90% of the time, and here as well 10% of the time. And this is all the various spells that you have, all your spell slots, okay? And we'll get into filling that stuff out in a little bit. So first we got to take care of page number 1. And then page number 3 is this right here. This is not necessary, all right? This is all of your the fine details of your character. So age, height, weight, eye color, skin color, hair color. You could put a picture of your character here as well. And there's boxes here for your backstory, how much treasure you have, additional features and traits that you may want to put in, any allies or organizations that you might be a part of. So it's not exactly it's good stuff to have if you've got the time to do it, but not exactly game breaking if you leave it out. So we're gonna attach a copy here for Jenny as well, and just emailing that over. Email sent, hon.
Thank you.
Yep. All right. So let's jump into the Discord, and I'm gonna be pulling these character sheets. And these are PDF form fillables. However, you can always just, for free, go to the Wizards of the Coast website, Dungeons & Dragons website, and you can get these off their website for free, and then just print them out and just, fill it out yourself, which is honestly what my favorite way of doing this. I really enjoy doing that. It's a lot of fun, I think, to make a character sheet.
So I'm saving this in my Dungeons and Dragons folder in our family folder on my flash drive. I'm not sure if you knew I had such a folder.
I did not know that, no.
Yep. It's our household folder. And I also have like our tax stuff in there. So our D&D folder is just as important as our tax folder.
That's very special.
It is special. That's why it's there. That's why it has its own folder.
For those of you in the Discord, I just sent you over those 3 character sheets. All right, so Jukaholic, let's catch up with chat a little bit. Jukaholic says, "Can I ask what the Paladin's Tavern has as customers?" Because I'm thinking there's no bards as live bands. Wait, character appearance is very necessary. No, it definitely is. It for sure is. So who comes to the Paladin's Tavern? Everyone. Everyone's welcome, of course. Everyone's welcome at the Paladin's Tavern, including bards and their slick ways. Okay. Now, let me see if I can pull up a digital version of the player's handbook. Should have that somewhere. Check my old D&D folder.
Now I have that song in my head from Skyrim. that the bard sings, the down with Ulfric.
Down with Ulfric, the killer of kings. Okay.
I caught Brandon singing that the other day to himself.
Yeah. I thought I caught him singing that as well. That's very funny. He's a big fan of Skyrim. Our 5-year-old son's a big fan of Skyrim, and yes, we let him play.
There's a few things that I do not. Now I want a donut.
I donut.
I donut. There's a few things that I do not allow him to do. Like, I don't let him watch that beginning scene. He's tried to get one over on me a few times and create a new character because he thinks, I was born yesterday, and I have to stop him before he, sees the whole beheading scene.
Right.
And there's a few other things that, I just don't want him exposed to. So, but all he wants to do is collect every single weapon in the game so that he is carrying so much he can't walk. So that's how he likes to play.
Okay, Jukeaholic says, give me a vibe at that tavern when you have the time. In my head right now, I'm thinking that breaking bread's a must. Like, literally coming to the table and breaking a piece of bread with another in Brotherhood. We're Christian. We're not Catholic. So we don't necessarily partake in all of those rituals. Okay, so the reason why I've got a copy of the player's handbook right here with me, just so I can kind of flip through a little bit faster. But I want you, instead of putting like a camera on my desktop here and showing you what it is I'm looking at, I think it would be nicer to just have the digital version right here. So the first thing that you really want to do when you're making a character is you want to roll some d6s. So you got your book open there, hon?
I have my book. It is closed.
All right. So we are going to go to... let me see if I can find it here. Get you a page number. Part 1, creating a character. That starts on page 10.
So I really get very excited when we create new characters. There's a really special thing about creating a new D&D character. It's slightly different than creating a video game character where you have complete control over, who your character is. But in D&D, the dice, the die decide, kind of what your stats are. And as I understand, and more of the history of D&D than I do, but wasn't it the case that historically you would roll the die in a certain order in terms of stats, and like whatever your stats were, it would determine the class, right?
Yeah, I think that was they call it OD&D. Old Dungeons and Dragons, or original D&D. This is before 2nd edition or Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, where you would roll the dice, and depending on, you would have to roll the dice, and you would have to roll them in the order in which your stats appear. So you could not roll 66 and be like, okay, I want to put that number into my charisma. You had to roll one set of dice, and then that was going to be your strength number. And then you rolled again, that would be your dex number. And then depending on how those dice fell, you would have to kind of pick a class that sort of fit correctly with the order of that dice. So now in Dungeons and Dragons, things have changed quite a bit. As stated in the player's handbook, and this is the 2014 5th edition rules. I know Wizards of the Coast just came out with a 2024 5th edition version. We don't use that. So in the 2014 version, that's the book we're looking at now, and it tells you step number one is choose your race, and step number 2 is choose your class. So before you get to any sort of rolling, they want you to like figure out, okay, what do you want to look like? Who do you want to be? Who do you want to be? Versus before in old Dungeons and Dragons, it was, the dice telling you what you were going to be. So it's very, very different thinking from then to now. All right. So for me, I always like to choose human. All right. So that's going to be my race. And when it comes to class, I'm going to go with Paladin, because this is the Paladin's Tavern. All right. Now, Hun, what are you doing on your side there? What race and class are you choosing?
I think I'm going to go elf.
Really?
Yeah. No, I think so. Where are why am I not finding the races and the... Oh no, yeah, because I'm looking for the bonuses that they get in terms of the stats. Yeah. Because I wanna roll a sorcerer.
21. Yeah, go to page 21. That's where elf begins.
Okay.
Okay, now that starts to bring you into elf names and all that, but elf traits is going to be on 23. Bottom left-hand corner.
Of course, I'm dexterous, like Legolas walking on the snow.
Right. So this is a good thing about D&D, is that when you choose a race, you get, your class gets different traits to them. So for elf, Jenny's going to receive an increase to her dexterity score by 2. Then further down, it talks a little bit about age and alignment and size. Of course, they'll talk a little bit about speed, but there's no change here. But really, once we hit down here, it tells you something that you get, that elves get, that not every race receives, which is dark vision. And it goes into a little bit of that. Some your keen senses. Okay, you have proficiency and perception skill. And so on.
I thought they had I thought they got a little bit of a bonus to the sorcerer stat for casting, which is charisma, if I remember correctly.
Health, half elf. Half elf, I believe, has a increase to charisma. Let me double check.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm seeing that on page 12, I think it was. They have like a list of the races and the different bonuses that they get. I think you're right.
Yeah. Half elf starts on page 38.
Okay. People get what's up?
I got that wrong. That was weird. Apparently that's tiefling is on page 38.
No, I'm on 38 and it's half elf.
Yeah? I wonder what I did wrong then.
Wait, go back to 38 for a second.
There I come. Boom. Yeah, it says tiefling traits. Isn't that weird?
That's not page 38.
Nah.
That's not what it looks like.
It's page 38 on the PDF, but it's actually page 42.
That explains it. Okay.
Yeah. Here we go. Half elf. Good thing we figured that out.
Yeah. All right. So I will go half elf then.
Okay, so half elf sorcerer?
Yep.
All right. Okay, next is one of the fun parts. Now, I think all of this is fun. I enjoy it. Some people find it a little tedious. But this, I think, is one of the most fun parts. And this is where you start to roll your stats.
This is my favorite part, and I don't think I actually got around to saying what I was trying to say before. Sorry, I'm being a mom all day. My brain is fried, but I was trying to say that, I really enjoy this part of D&D is that, that character creation, because you're kind of finding out who your character is going to be, like his or her strengths and weaknesses to a degree. Like we were talking about before, you have a little bit more control over, where you put the different dice rolls. But still, you might have kind of like a weaker character kind of coming in, or like a really OP character. So I don't know, it's just a fun little gamble to start with.
Yeah, it's definitely cool. Now, for those of you checking this out, we're going to be looking right here. For those of you building your character sheets along with us, we're on page 13 of the Player's Handbook. And it's telling us here about our ability scores. Okay, you generate your character's 6 ability scores randomly. Roll 4 6-sided die. And that's, it's a normal looking dice. The cube is a 6-sided die. We're going to roll 4 of those. Okay. Let's see. So, got my 4 right here. And okay. So, after you're done rolling, what do? You record the total highest 3 on a piece of paper. So, let's let me grab a text document here. Where'd it go? Okay. So, what are we doing? So, I rolled a 5, a 1, a 1, and a 2. Pretty terrible roll. I'm gonna take the 3 highest rolls, is what the book is telling us. Okay? You generate your character's 6 ability scores randomly. Roll 4 6-sided dice and record the total of the highest 3 on a piece of scratch paper. Okay, so I rolled a 5, a 1, a 1, and a 2. So that means that the 5, 1, and 2 are what I record. I add it up. 5 and 2 is 7. 1 is 8.
Honey, I forgot my dice bag. Can I borrow 2 of your D6s, please?
Yeah, you need a couple of D6s?
Yeah, just 2. I have 4. I need 6, right?
Yep. The Dungeon Master always comes with extra dice. Just in case. Don't have one there, so extra dice. So you need what, 2 D6s? All right. One here. And another one here. All right. Would you mind coming over and grabbing them? Hold on. Let me swivel the chair over. Ingenious. All right, now. So we've got our first number. How many times do we have to do this? Do this 5 more times so that you have 6 numbers. All right, so that's number 1. Oh, man, with these terrible. A 4, a 1, a 1, and a 2. So 4 and 1 is 5, and 2 is 7. This is abysmal.
Do you want me to do mine at the same time as you?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got a 6, a 5, a 4, and a 1. So 6 and 5 is 11, plus 4 is 15. 3 numbers. Halfway there. Okay. A 5, a 4, a 5, and a 1. Drop the 1. 5 and 5 is 10, plus 4 is 14. Okay. A 3, a 2, a 2, and a 1. I have rolled a 1 on one of these dice. It's ridiculous. It's 3 and 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7. Okay. How many we got here? One more. Okay. A 4, a 4, a 2, and a 6. Drop the 2. So the 6 and the 4 is a 10, and the 4 after that makes a 14.
Wait, honey, I'm sorry. I think I misheard you before. I'm not rolling 6 d6s. It's 4, right? And you drop the lowest.
Correct.
Okay.
4d6.
I didn't need your die. I didn't need your die after all.
Oh, okay. All right.
Wow, I'm off to a hot start. 3 1s and a 6. Jeez.
That's 3 1s and a 6. Ay, ay, ay.
Awful. I mean, I guess it could be more awful, but...
Now, the character, so it further states, if you want to save time or don't like the idea of randomly determining ability scores, you can use the following scores instead. So they give you a 15, a 14, a 13, 12, a 10, and an 8. So we always have that option. Here at our table at home, we actually generate these scores a total of 3 times. So that's the first set. We're going to do this 2 more times. A 5, a 4, a 3, and a 2. All right, 6, 5, 3, and 5. That's 16. 4, 4, 1, 1. 6, 6, 5, and a 2. Wow, 17 on that one.
That's a great one.
That's fantastic, yeah. Five, 2, 3, and a 1. So that's 5 and 2 is 7. And that makes a 10. one more on the second set. Got a 6, a 6, a 5, and a 2. Wow. Another 17. That might be the set that I use. I got a 12, a 16, a 9, a 17, a 10, and a 17.
That 9. That's not great, but I guess you could improve it with the ability score improvement.
Yeah. As a paladin, I mean, I could put that into the one stat I don't use, which is intelligence.
That'd be fun to play. Really dopey paladin.
All right. Third set. First roll. 6, 4, 2, and 1. Drop the 1. 6 and 4 is 10 plus 2 is 12. All right. 3, a 4, a 5, and a 1. Drop the 1. 5 and 4 is 9, plus 3 is 12. Oof. Not a good roll at all. 6, 1, 1, and a 1.
That was my first roll, too.
Terrible. That's an 8. Roll the dice around a little bit in the palms, you know? Come on. All right. Oh, that actually was pretty good. 4, 2, 2, and 1. That's no, it's actually a terrible roll. So 4 and 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Oh, that's not good.
I had high hopes for this this third set that I was rolling.
Man, I'm getting crushed over here now. Okay, and last roll. All right, a 6, a 6, a 5, and a 4. Not a bad roll if the lowest one is a 4. 6 and 6 is 12, plus 5 is 17. Holy smokes. Talk about wild swings here. That last set was a 12, a 12, an 8, 8, 9, and a 17. Unreal.
Okay, I'm all set over here.
You're all set?
Yeah.
Okay. So, you got your stats?
Well, I think I know which one I'm going to go with. My first and third rolls were like you said, wild swings. My first one, I got an 8. First of all, I got 3 15s in that set. A 12, and then an 8 and a 7. So, I mean,
you can always if it's not bad that you get 2 rolls that are 10 and under, as long as everything else is relatively high. That's not bad, because you can always find those stats that your character really doesn't use, and just put them in there. And then maybe kind of bump it up a little bit with a background or some class choices.
Yeah, but a 7 is pretty abysmal, though.
That's
pretty
horrible.
Bad. it's really bad.
It's terrible. On the next side here, you're going to see that on this table, if you get a 6 or a 7, it's a -2 to your modifier. It's horrible.
Oh no, that's not. Well, anyway.
Yeah.
My third one is just all over the place. I got a 7, an 8, an 11, a 13, a 14, and a 16. just all over the place.
All over.
My second roll was like pretty like on middle of the road, but like sort of erring on the higher side. So I got a 10, an 11, a 12, 2 13s, and a 15. So I think I might go with that one. I mean, I think that's a pretty decent roll. And the half elf, oh, I lost the page now. Hold on. They get a couple of stat increases for their race.
Well, for charisma, yeah.
No, they get something else too. Hold on.
What was that, page 38?
Yeah, ability score increase. Your charisma score increases by 2, and 2 other ability scores of your choice increase by 1.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. So
I would take if you're going to be a sorcerer, I would take since you're getting I would keep in mind that you're getting a +2 to charisma by choosing half elf.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking maybe dump that on top of the 15.
Right.
You know, be powerful right out the gate with a 17. You know?
Yeah. All right. So what do we do now? So the next step here is to let's take a look at our race. So we are going to go back to the table of contents. All right. And for those of you following along, all right, you could choose your races. Now there's many more races available in other D&D books, okay? However, we're just sticking right now to the basic races available in 5th edition from 2014. And those are dwarf, elf, halfling, human, dragonborn, gnome, half-elf, half-orc, and tiefling. So what you're going to do is select your race. I'm going to go with human because I'm boring. And we're going to see what a human has to offer these stats. Here we go. All right. And you're going to want to navigate over to your race's trait section. Okay. Now for humans, they also receive a variant, which is very, very popular. So let's go through this. Ability score increase. So humans have a trait. Okay, your ability score increase. Your ability scores each increase by 1 as a human. Pretty awesome.
That is really awesome. Every single one increases? That's cool.
Every single one. Now, everything else here is kind of, just kind of filler information. Doesn't really go too much onto. There's really not much here that goes onto the character sheet. Okay, your age is self-explanatory. Alignment, it says that humans can basically be any alignment. Your size, you're anywhere between 5 to 6 feet tall with a medium size rating for D&D. Your base walking speed is 30 feet. You can speak, read, and write Common plus an extra language. So stuff that is good to call out, but you would kind of, assume anyway. And now here's the variant. Okay, 2 different ability scores. So instead of increasing every score by 1, you can choose this ability score increase. 2 different ability scores of your choice increased by 1. Skills. Okay, you also get you pick 2 ability scores and increase them by 1. You can also gain a proficiency in one skill of your choice, and you can also gain one feat of your choice. So what the other human trait here is, the other humans, the other version of human in D&D 5th edition is every ability score is increased by 1, plus you get 2 languages. The variant is, instead of increasing every ability score by 1, you can only select 2, but then you can pick a skill to be proficient in, and you can also gain a feat. Now, here at my table, what I like to do is when we're making new characters, I like to tell everyone you can pick a feat at level 1. So what I'm actually going to do here is I'm actually going to just pick the regular humans, not the variant. Give everyone a +1 here. So I'm going to note that on my ability scores. This way I don't forget it. I'm also going to make a notation. House rule. Gain +1 feat with level 1 character. Two languages. All right. I'm going to get rid of these scores just so I don't get confused. Now, these are the bonuses that I'm receiving from just being a human. All right, how you doing over there, hon?
Okay, I'm just going through my traits.
All right. I'm ready to move on to the class. Are you ready to do that yet, or no?
I just need like a minute to write down my my traits here.
Got it. All right. In the meantime, let's see. Does the chat room have any questions? Definitely not. All right.
Just a note. I don't know if you said this, but when I write down my traits and whatnot on my character sheet, I like to write the page number that it corresponds to in the player's manual. That just helps me, you know, to save time if I'm looking to use that trait or feature, whatever it is. If I'm looking to use it, and I, you know, for whatever reason, there's so many, D&D is so detailed that you might forget what something means or how to use it, and that just is something that helps me to, you know, save time.
Okay. All right. So going back to the table of contents. What are we doing now? What we're doing is we've got these ability scores picked out. We're looking at our race traits to see how those traits affect those ability scores, plus any other bonuses that come in. And next, we're going to start looking at the class and see how the class is going to affect any of these ability scores as well. So, classes start on page 45. Of the player's handbook, and in D&D, you have a host of classes to choose from. There are more classes in other books for 5th edition. Again, just like the race, we're sticking strictly to what's in the 2014 5th edition Player's Handbook. Just to make things simple. Of course, everything that we're talking about can be applied to all the other classes that exist in the game. But just to keep things simple, we want to stick here. So you can either be a barbarian, a bard, a cleric, a druid, a fighter, a monk, a paladin, a ranger, a rogue, a sorcerer, a warlock, or a wizard. So for me, I'm going to be navigating over to page 82. That is the paladin. Pick your class, navigate over to that page. What also might be a good idea is, I think what I'll do is, I'll see if I can put this PDF of the player's handbook on the Discord as well.
Honey, you tell me. I get to choose a third language to speak. I speak Common and Elvish.
Okay.
You tell me what, given whatever plans you have, what might be the history of my half-elf, and what might she have been exposed to that she might have picked up?
Well, elves in the world of Aearn, which this is a homebrew campaign. Elves in the world of Aearn are very reclusive. They don't get out much from their areas. And they tend to live away from human civilization. So, and being a half-elf, half-human, it's very, very, very rare. There aren't many half-elves in the world of Aearn. Your experience culturally is going to be much more human than elven. Culturally, even though one of your parents was an elf, you likely did not grow up in an elven enclave due to your half elven blood. So it's unlikely, not impossible. It's unlikely. So you form whatever backstory you want, of course, but I'm just telling you that, how things normally go, in the world. So it's very unlikely. Now, if you grew up, and it's probably 99% likely you would grow up in a human civilization, you would have access to whatever humans had access to. If you grew up in a big city, your chances of bumping into other cultures and other types of languages would be extremely high. If you grew up in a human civilization that was very agricultural with lots of farming, your chances of bumping up into another culture would be much lower than in an urban civilization. However, it's not impossible. You probably would be aware of a couple of cultures, maybe two at the most, from small towns and traveling on the road. Probably two other cultures that you would have encountered. You're probably aware of many cultures, but you've encountered at least up to two. If you grew up in an elven enclave, you were incredibly sheltered and did not have a lot of experience with other types of cultures. You grew up believing that the elven culture was vastly superior than anything else in the world, that everything else in the world is akin to a third world country. However, you specifically don't fit in. Not that there's anything wrong with you. You can't help your weak blood. Is kind of how you would have grown up. So you would have grown up fully believing that you're in a far superior culture. You likely would have been very Well, let me not say how you would feel. But you grew up in a culture that told you it was vastly superior to everything else. You likely would believe that. But at the same time, your ability to fully integrate within that culture has been handicapped to some degree. Not a strong degree, but to some degree it's been handicapped. So I know that's a lot of information, especially when you're trying to figure out, what other languages you should pick. But hopefully it helps.
Well, I think I'd like her to. I don't really enjoy playing a hoity-toity character.
Well, you don't have to. You don't have to be that way. You don't have to be, with your nose in the air here. You don't have to do that. People grow up in civilizations and come up with all kinds of individual ideas on their own.
That's true. I grew up in a really snooty town, and I'm not snooty.
See that? All right. I want to move on to class.
Yep, I'm ready.
You're ready. Okay. So, I'm choosing Paladin. That's page 82. Navigate over there. Okay. Now, the thing you really want to pay attention to is, first of all, this table is incredibly important. This is going to list by level all of the features that you receive plus the spell slots that you're going to get. But we'll come to that in a little bit. What you really want to look at here are your class features. Okay, and now we're going to start putting stuff down on the character sheet. The first thing you really want to look at are anything that's going to affect your ability scores. All right. So, for example, we've got your hit die. We can record that in a few minutes. We'll figure out the hit points in a few minutes as well. Here are your proficiencies. What kind of armor are you proficient in? Weapons, any tools, saving throws. This will get recorded as well. And then you get to pick your skills here. And then some starter equipment. Okay. All right. So let's move over to the character sheet. All right. Now, if there's any adjustments to your ability scores, let's start making them now.
So you want to assign the adjustments?
Yeah.
Right now?
Yep. Let's start doing that. Okay. All right. Now, what I like to do is I like to write in, once I've adjusted my ability scores, now I like to write in which ability score is going to be in which category here. So we've got strength, dex, constitution, intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. So based on my class here, okay, the paladin does not really use the intelligence score very much. Doesn't mean that they're stupid characters. Okay, let's get that straight. They're not dumb. They just the way that Dungeons and Dragons looks at these scores is intelligence does not mean that you are necessarily capable or incapable of thinking. You also have wisdom, which offsets it. So intelligence really refers to your book knowledge and your ability for your mind to retain and get to that book knowledge in your head. Wisdom is another type of intelligence, but it's sort of separated out differently. You could sort of see it here in your skills. Perception, the skill of perception. If you're talking to a person in D&D, you might say like, do I know that this person is lying to me? And I would tell you, roll perception. You take a D20, roll it, you would add your perception score, and based on that, you would know if the person's lying to you or not. Okay? That would be an example in which you as a character have used your mind to discern a truth about the world. You could have a low intelligence score and still be able to make that discernment, versus someone in the party says, I'm wondering how relevant is this is the history of this particular ancient civilization. How relevant is that to what we're looking at right now? And maybe your character says, I think I happen to know a lot about history. Do I know the answer to that question? I would say roll history. History is governed by the intelligence score. So you'd roll a d20, add your history score to it, and yes or no, you would know that answer. It's your mind. The intelligence score is your mind's ability to search through the information that it's retained through books and secondhand knowledge, teaching, whatnot, and be able to come up with that answer. And of course, there's discernment available in that as well. But so that's kind of like the two. It's kind of like book knowledge versus experience, like life experience. Okay. With all that being said, let's start assigning these ability scores. Now Paladin is a type of class where there's a lot of requirements on your ability scores. So the lowest for me, which is a 10, I'm going to give that to my intelligence right now. I'm going to give strength. One of these 18s is going to go to strength. I think I'm going to give myself I'm going to give the 11 to Dex. All right. One of these 18s is going to go to charisma. That's very important for it's a spell-based thing for paladins. Wisdom, I think I'm going to assign the 17 to wisdom. And the 13 can go to constitution. Yeah, you know what? Let's flip that. I think I'll make wisdom the third. So 13 is going to be wisdom, and constitution will be the 17. Okay, I feel good about that. That feels good. I like that. All right, now I know we're gonna be hopping around pages a lot. You gotta forgive me. I didn't write the book, okay, but we are gonna be hopping pages a lot. So maybe get a bookmark, okay. Put that bookmark right where your class is, and we're gonna jump all the way back to the beginning of the book once more. Okay, I do apologize. Cannot be avoided. And we're going to go to page 13, where the ability scores and modifiers are. But before we do that, let's check in with Jenny and let's see how she's doing.
I'm doing well. I am assigning my own stats. And I decided to give the +2 that I get for the charisma. Oh, no, sorry. That went automatically to charisma. For the half-elf, but then I got the opportunity to do a +1 to 2 different stats. So I bumped up. Hold on, let me pull up my thing here. I bumped up an 11 to a 12 and a 13 to a 14. Because I think what Joe is about to go through is the modifiers, right?
Yeah.
So he's going to explain that the modifier changes with those numbers. So I bumped it up, and the modifier got bumped up by 1 for each of those. So now I'm just putting them in. For a sorcerer, like I said, the charisma is the spellcasting ability, so that you want to be your highest number. And after that, since as a sorcerer, you're usually pretty squishy, especially at first. So you probably want that constitution to be the next highest one, so that you get more hit points.
Right.
And I guess after that, I did a quick search to see what, after charisma, what would be best. And it says dexterity because, of your... what does it say? Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
Better armor class and initiative. So
Yes.
so I'm gonna go with that, and then probably wisdom after that, and I'll leave intelligence as last. It's my, I think, was that my 11 or a 10? Whatever my lowest score was.
Okay. So you could see how it's definitely important to understand how these ability scores are going to affect your class. It's super important because, as a sorcerer, probably not intuitive to think that dexterity might be, secondarily important to charisma here in D&D. But these do affect other things. Certainly all the skills down here, but dexterity links right over to initiative, and I'm going to show you that right now. Once we start filling these scores in, then you're going to really see some fireworks on the on the players the character sheet. Okay, so we're on page 13 of the player's handbook, ability scores and modifiers. And so what does this table mean? It means that these scores that we now have rolled, adjusted, and recorded and assigned, okay, they all correspond to a modifier. And these modifiers are going to be the numbers that you're going to use mostly throughout your gameplay sessions. So let's take this number 13 here. Okay, if you roll, if your ability score is either a 12 or a 13, you're going to get a +1 modifier. So what does that mean? It means that any skill that's wisdom related, I automatically get a +1 to whatever I roll. So, for example, in our example of perception, is this guy lying to me? Okay, as a level 1 character, I would say you're wondering if he's lying to you. Okay, do a perception check. You roll a d20, and in this case, you will add a +1 to that roll. So let's say you roll, a 15. It now becomes a 16. You would tell the dungeon master, okay, 15 plus 1, 16. So I rolled a 16. The dungeon master would say, okay, well, you've got a very high likely, it's likely that you understand this guy's lying to you. And you'd be able to press your advantage, knowing that information. All right, so where do we put these things? You would think they would go in the big box. They do not. They go in the little box. Okay, they go in the little box because the big box is meant for your modifier. So.
Oh, I forgot about that. Darn it. Oh, man, I've done 4 of them already. Come on.
Well, that's why it's a form fillable PDF. You can erase it. So just going through here, we can see that the strength score, which is an 18, is going to give me a +4 modifier. Dexterity, I made an 11. Looking at the table, 11 is a 0 modifier. So there goes my initiative. Constitution is a 17. Let's move this over a little bit. That's going to be a +3 modifier. Intelligence is a 10. Okay, so that's going to be a 0 modifier. Wisdom is a 13. That's a +1.
So I take back what I said before. My lowest number is going into strength. I don't really need that as a sorcerer.
No. And charisma 18, which is a +4 modifier. All right. Now, in this instance, my race is not giving me any proficiencies. Okay, check with your race to see if you're going to get any proficiencies with your race choice. As a half elf, Hun, do you get any proficiencies as simply just being a half elf?
I'm not seeing any. That would be under the traits, I assume.
Yeah. Race traits.
Oh wait, never mind. I do. I totally missed this. I skipped. I didn't even read the. My eyes skipped over. I read all of the traits except for skill versatility. You gain proficiency in 2 skills of your choice. So yeah, I totally missed that. When I read over this. Okay, so I usually like to, being that I'm not terribly gifted in intelligence, I like to choose investigation if I have the opportunity to, because you use investigation a lot to, discover things. And, like Joe was saying, like if you, ask a question of the DM and he or she says, okay, well, investigate the area. If you have a poor score in that area, it's going to be really hard for you to find anything out. So I like to pour the proficiency there if I can.
Yeah. All right. Now, the next thing I want you to do, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, is I want you to take a look at your class. So go back to that thing that's holding your place in the book. And if you're making a level 1 character, I want you to note this here, because this is going to start to come into focus right now. At first level, your proficiency bonus. Okay, we're actually going to make use of that right now. Hunter, you moving on to that or no?
Yeah, I'm good with my ability scores.
Okay. Once your ability scores are all recorded, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go into proficiency bonus. So it should be a 2. However, I don't have the book memorized. Look onto your class. Go to your class in the book and look at the table, the class table here that lists the level, the proficiency bonuses, the features, and the spell slots that you get for each level. And record your proficiency bonus here on the character sheet. Now, next thing, before you write anything else in any of these other skills, okay, because we're going to go to them now, I want you to scroll down, turn the page over, and I want you to look at here in the class features, what are your proficiencies? Okay, yes, armor, weapons, but this right here, saving throws. Okay, what is your character proficient in regarding your saving throws? Now, what's a saving throw? A saving throw is a die roll that you make that can get you out of a sticky situation. It could be you almost fell off a cliff. Okay? It could be a spell that was cast. And what you're doing here for these saving throws is, let's find an example. The dungeon master tells you that you're walking through a dungeon, and right in front of you, you discover a 10-foot deep hole with spikes inside. All right. You haven't fallen in just yet. Okay. The dungeon master tells you haven't fallen in just yet. Give me a dexterity saving throw. Now, what is this supposed to do? The dexterity saving throw is to determine how dexterous is your character in that moment. Are you able to stop yourself from falling in the hole? So, if you happen to be proficient in dexterity saving throws, this will bump up that score. So you roll the d20. You do the dexterity saving throw, add whatever number comes here. If you're proficient in it, it'll just make that number higher, and you'll be more likely to avoid the hazard. And that's what these saving throws are all about. How well do you avoid particular hazards? Okay. Now, for my character, I get proficiency in wisdom and charisma. So what I'm going to do, and this is what I want you to do now, is just click the little check mark here. Okay? Wisdom and charisma saving throws. This way we know that when we get down to adding in the values for each of our skills, we know to add 2 to whatever would go into these boxes. Now, next, in the same way that we did the saving throws, I want you to look at your skills. Your class is going to give you proficiency in skills. Okay? For me, for Paladin, I get to choose 2 at either athletics or insight or intimidation or medicine or persuasion or religion. So, as a Paladin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself a proficiency in athletics. I'm going to check that box. And intimidation. I'm going to check that box. Now, we're going to be picking backgrounds as well. Backgrounds will add to these proficiencies. So, why don't we move over to backgrounds now before we start adding up our proficiency skills? Hun, are you ready to move on to backgrounds? Were you able to follow along?
Yes. With the exception of, I'm just trying to figure out. Well, we're going back to this, right?
Yeah, we're going to come back. So put that bookmark in to your class once more, and we're going to go back to the table of contents. Well, I'm going to go back to the table of contents. You hang out there for a second. I'm going to tell you what page to go to. Backgrounds start on page 125. And so from here, what we have is features and traits that will add depth to your character, and also some skill proficiencies and maybe some other features as well that are fun. So, for example, I'm going to scroll down to one of the traits that I'm very familiar with, which is soldier. And they're in alphabetical order. Sailor. And here we go. Soldier. All right. Gives you a little description here of what it is that you, what these backgrounds are. Okay. I'll spare you from reading soldier. But here it's going to tell me the skills that I'm proficient in as a soldier. Athletics and intimidation. Wow. Well, I just picked that from my class. You know what that means? I should go back to my class and pick two different class proficiencies. So let's say I've got athletics and intimidation, okay, I'm proficient in those skills because of my background. We're going to go up here. We're going to type in background. I'm going to type in soldier. Right? Oh, can't forget my player name. Oh, I'm Joe. Paladins are always lawful good, so lawful good alignments. All right, so it also tells you some tools that you might be proficient in, and this is, like I said, depth as well as proficiencies. So I can choose a type of gaming set to be proficient in, or a vehicle, a land vehicle. So maybe I'm really good at, I don't know, riding a chariot. Equipment. Okay, remember, depth. An insignia of rank, a trophy taken from a fallen enemy, a set of bone dice or deck of cards, a set of common clothes, a belt pouch containing 10 gold. If you happen to get any sort of equipment from your background, it's always good to record that right here on your character sheet. Okay, your character sheet has a whole box here for equipment. Bless you. Now, specifically when it comes to gold, all right, I'm getting 10 gold as a soldier. That's important. That's really important. You never know when you start a game if you're going to need any coin. Maybe you want to go to the general store and buy some new equipment, right at the start of the game. It's always good to know how much coin you've got on you. Okay. Now, it goes into, more stuff. Like I said, it adds a lot of depth to the character creation. So spend time with your background here. If you're not watching this live, if you're watching this on YouTube later, now's a great time to maybe pause the video. Take a look at everything that's going on in your background and come right back. This way you understand it fully. Now, before we head back over to our class, I want to check in with Jenny. What background are you looking at?
Right now I'm looking at folk hero.
All right, let's take a look with Jenny. Let's go take a look at folk hero.
Page 131. I'm thinking she grew up humbly with her human parent. And maybe didn't know until she was, much older, that she was half elf.
Okay. So folk hero, you get animal handling and survival as skill proficiencies. Also, don't forget, in your equipment, you also receive 10 gold. And a feature called Rustic Hospitality. Have you seen that?
Yep. Yeah. So this is kind of fits in with my survival skill a little bit.
Any feature that your background might present to you, there's a features and traits box right here. You're just going to want to put that right in there. And what I like to do is I always like to give the book and the page number in that book in which that feature appears in. This way, in the middle of a hot moment during the campaign, I can just quickly reference it if I need to, like if I'm poring over my sheets, like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do to get myself out of this situation? Oh, I know, here's a feature that I picked, many moons ago. What the heck is that? How is that going to help me? I don't know what book is it even in. What page is it on? Instead of doing all that, it's just right there. The page number's right there. You just flip right to it. All right, let's go back to the class.
In a high pressure moment, that's really stressful, actually. Like, it really takes away from the game.
Without a doubt. Okay. So, athletics and intimidation is coming to me as a soldier. So, I also have the choice of insight, medicine, persuasion, or religion. So I'm going to go with persuasion. And then the other one I think will be insight. There we are. Now, right here in this box on the bottom left where it says other proficiencies and languages, I always like to record where these are coming from. Again, so I know what's going on. So athletics intimidation comes from the background. And then insight and persuasion comes from the class. All right. Okay. Now, at our table, we like to choose a feature right at level 1. So, we're going to navigate to that in just a minute, because features can also bump up our ability scores and our skills and all that. So, honey, you ready for moving on to features or no?
I'm just writing down the equipment that I get from my background.
Got it. Yeah, I didn't do that yet. But I think now's a good time.
I'm carrying around an iron pot, just so you know.
I saw that. Well, maybe we'll have a chance to have some roast chicken.
Roast chicken?
You never know.
Oh, Sam. My dear Sam.
Frodo in that moment might as well have said, "Oh, Sam, you silly, slow, stunted moron."
I actually interpreted it very differently. I think it's very I think he finds it very endearing because Sam is simple, not like, unintelligent simple. He, it's the simple things in life that bring him happiness. So I interpreted it like he found that endearing of him,
Mm. Belt pouch. I'm going to skip the trophy taken from a fallen enemy. I'm going to skip that one.
You should write monkey bear head.
So while playing Skyrim, my son, who is 5, had found the trolls of Skyrim. Now, if you've never played Skyrim, the trolls are quite unique looking. We're going to do an image search here for you if you're not sure what these things look like. And so my son gets a hold of this thing, and it starts chasing after him. and he called. He said something to the degree we were calling him out of the room for a moment. He says, "Hold on, I just got to get away from this monkey bear."
It's so cute.
I mean, is that not an apt description for this thing? I mean, it absolutely has simian traits, and it's furry all over like a bear.
I think what he said was, "Dada, get this monkey bear."
Yeah.
He wanted you to get him because they're, not easy to down.
No, they're these monkey bears are. So that's what we call them in the house now. These Skyrim trolls, we call them monkey bears. After that, so these trolls, the only way to actually kill them in Skyrim is to they have an automatic life gain feature on them. So every time you hit them, they start to regain life. Now, it's not an issue later on in the game because you're hitting them so hard that they can't regain their life that quickly. But early in the game, before level 5, before level 7, they can be real tough to fight because your hits are not counting for much, and they're regaining their health pretty quickly as a result. So it's always good to get a little a sword or a mace, a little fire enchant on there, because that fire burns the troll and it shuts off their ability to regain their health. So there's a little Skyrim little Skyrim stuff there for you. Okay, moving on. Are we ready to move into traits now, hun?
Yep.
Yeah, features, I should say.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, I clicked the wrong thing. All right. So, feats are in Chapter 6, customization options. They start on page 165. And very much like backgrounds, these will give you something for you to customize your character with. Some of them have a prerequisite to it. You got to be aware of that. Like defensive duelist here, the prerequisite is dexterity 13 or higher. Others, the prerequisite is you have a former. Some of these feats have tiers to them, and so one of the prerequisites is you got to have the previous tier of this feat. Others, like athlete, are yours for the taking at level 1. So, let's show you one that I always like to go with. Although I forget the name of it. Here's one of the ones I was talking about. Heavily armored, prerequisite, proficiency with medium armor. Okay. But then heavy armor master, prerequisite, proficiency with heavy armor. So you got to have the previous tier in order to get to that.
You want to show the one I always get as when I create a sorcerer?
Which one is that?
It's on page 166. It's called Elemental Adept.
And again, these are listed in alphabetical order. So if you're not sure, all you need to know is the name, and you'll be able to find it real easy. Elemental Adept. So this is the one that Jenny chooses a lot, she says. When you gain this feat, choose one of the following damage types: acid, cold, fire, lightning, or thunder. Spells you cast ignore resistance to damage of the chosen type. In addition, when you roll damage for a spell you cast that deals damage of that type, you can treat any 1 on a damage die as a 2. You can select this feat multiple times. Each time you do so, you must choose a different damage type. Pretty strong.
I really don't see any other feature that's anywhere near as strong for a caster than this.
Well, you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure. So essentially, I usually go with fire damage first because it's just more commonly used. There's, you got Burning Hands, which is a great spell. You get it usually right out of the gate. And I believe it's a level 1 skill, if I remember correctly. And so I like to go with fire first. And essentially you've got the when you cast it, so some of the enemies in the game will have something called resistance to that damage. So what that means is that hitting them with that particular type of damage, it's not going to hurt them as easily. I think what do they get, honey? Advantage on it, or they take half damage when they have resistance?
Resistance is half damage, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, so they take half damage. So, if you roll like, not so high on your damage, they're going to take half of that, so it's going to make it even weaker. You're barely going to hit them. So, with this feature, you get to ignore that entirely. So they take the full damage even if they have that resistance. And again, you can take this over and over again and choose all these different types of damage. So that means that if you take it, repeatedly, and you get all of the types of damage where you ignore resistance, any type of resistance that any enemy has in the game, you just completely ignore. It doesn't matter to you. So it makes for a really powerful caster. And, in addition to this, the roll damage, if you, roll your damage and you get, let's say 2 1s in there, that usually, makes for a pretty weak damage roll, but you get to treat those as 2. So automatically you get to increase that damage score a little bit.
Yeah. Wow. Thanks for explaining that to us. Pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. So you're going with that one, right then?
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And I'm going to pick fire. Usually I do fire. Fire is, I find, one of the more common, types of damage used by casters, with both characters and enemies alike. Cold probably, being next in line. I don't see a whole lot of acid, lightning, and thunder coming from enemies. So, I tend to choose those last. But first one's got to be fire for me.
So remind me to throw an acid dragon at you and at level 5.
Metagaming.
All right. So what I like to pick is tough, and it's not a very exciting feature. Okay. However, man, it does a body good. Your hit point max increases by an amount equal to twice your level when you gain this feat. Whenever you gain a level thereafter, your hit point max increases by an additional 2 hit points. So, this is a level 1 character. My hit points are going to go up by 2. And then every single level after that, I'm getting whatever my hit points are, I'm going to get 2 additional. So it behooves you to get this early in the game, so you get higher hit points early on. But if you get this later in the game, you could really jump up your hit points quite a bit. So this is great. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to record this right here. Tough. Page 170. And then I always like to put in the book, PHB, Player's Handbook. All right. Back to class. All right. All of that to say that now things are going to start to fall into place like dominoes. Hunter, you ready?
Yep.
Ready? Okay. All right. So let's start putting in our information. Now, starting with the saving throws. What you're going to do is you're just going to transfer your ability scores right over here. And then don't forget to add 2 to the saving throws that you're proficient in. For me, I'm only proficient in wisdom and charisma. Everything else is going to be a strict transfer right over. So, strength is going to get a 4. Dexterity is 0. Constitution 3. And hopefully you're doing this along with me, so I'm not going to talk over it. Maybe me calling out numbers is a little confusing for you.
Are you talking to me? Because I already did this part.
Just in general. So here I'm proficient in wisdom. My plus, so I get a 1 + 1 modifier to wisdom, plus my proficiency bonus. That's going to be a 3. Charisma, I have a +4 modifier, plus my proficiency bonus 2. That's going to be a 6. 4 + 2 is 6. All right, going down the list in the same way. These skills are governed by a ability score. So, acrobatics, we just put in our dex, which is 0. Animal handling, wisdom, I get a 1. Arcana, intelligence, that's a 0 for me. Athletics, I'm proficient in it. I get to add 2. So, athletics is a strength-based skill. So that's 4 for me, plus 2 is 6. And we're just going to go down the list like that. Gotta be a faster way of doing this. Use both hands.
I like to go by the ability score. Like I just did Dex first, and then I'll go back and do Wisdom next. You know what I mean? Fill them all out because it's easier for me just to type in the same number.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I completely agree. All right. Now, I always get a little confused on passive perception. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the back of the book, and because this is how I always figure it out. I can never remember how to do passive perception, but I always remember how I figure it out. Imagine that. So let me see if I can find where passive perception is, and then I'll be able to figure this out. Because that'll be the next thing, is how do we figure out our passive perception? Or our passive wisdom? Okay. Going to page 178 for the answer. Wisdom checks. All right. So, let me get Let me get that on here. Oh my. Way off the mark. Here we go. Saving throws. Okay, wisdom. Perception. Your wisdom perception check lets you spot, hear, or otherwise detect the presence of something. It measures your general awareness of your surroundings and the keenness of your senses. All right, so that's perception defined. But how do I figure out passive perception? Let's look it up. I'm having a hard time locating this in the player's handbook. Passive perception measures the perception skill without rolling any dice. Passive perception is calculated as 10 plus all modifiers that would apply to a rolled perception check for that character, such as the wisdom modifier and a proficiency bonus. Okay, so all right. So the way you do this is you add 10 plus your wisdom modifier. And if you happen to be proficient in wisdom like I am, that gets factored in too. So instead of me adding a 1 to this number 10, I'm going to be adding a 3 because that's my proficiency bonus. My proficiency is 2 plus... So at level 1, my proficiency bonus is 2. I add that to the 1 that I get here for wisdom, and then the book tells you add that to 10. So that's going to be, my passive perception is going to be a 13. All right. What's your passive perception, hon?
Go over this again for me, please.
Yeah, no problem. We're going to add the number 10 to whatever your wisdom modifier is.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's 11 then.
Got it. Now, do you have proficiency in wisdom?
Wait, what do you mean? In saving throws?
Correct.
No.
Okay, so then you don't add your proficiency to this. It's just that simple.
So wait, if you have... That was my question before, but it seemed like you did it without this. When you have proficiency, so my proficient saving throws are Constitution and Charisma. That doesn't go for every Constitution and Charisma skill below?
If you're proficient in Constitution, then yes. What you do is... No, I'm sorry. It doesn't. Because your saving throws... So That only goes to your saving throws. When your class tells you you're proficient in Constitution and what was the other one? Charisma. Okay, you got to look close. It says your saving throws.
Right.
Okay. Below that are your skills. And your skills, you'll be proficient in some skills and not in others. Okay? Your skills are governed by an ability modifier, but it doesn't mean that you're going to get, just because you're proficient in a Constitution saving throw, doesn't mean that's going to apply to every single skill that's governed by Constitution or
gotcha.
Charisma.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're proficient in the skill, not the ability. Not the ability modifier.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right. So with that figured out, let's start looking at our hit points. Okay, and again, this is going to be governed by your class. So, your class will tell you hit dice. Okay? As a paladin, I get 1d10 per paladin level. So, where the box says hit dice, where it says hit dice there, you just add 1d10. Now, these are level 1 characters. So, what does that mean? It tells you right here, hit points at first level. All right, you got to follow that by your class. For me, it's going to be 10 plus my Constitution modifier. And since I have tough, I'm going to add that to it as well. For sorcerer, I believe it's going to be 6 plus your Constitution modifier.
Yep.
Okay.
So I have an 8. I'm squishy.
All right. So for me, my current hit points are going to be 10 plus my Constitution modifier, which is 3. And now, since I have tough, I'm going to add another 2 to that as well. And that's going to be a grand total of 15 at level 1.
My hero.
All right.
I'm gonna need it. A stiff wind will blow me over.
What's your hit point total right now?
8.
8.
Yeah, I believe that's what it was for Eloise too, as a level 1 character.
It's rough.
Yeah. Being a caster is rough in the beginning.
That's rough.
In the beginning, because you don't have a terrible amount of skill,
Right.
Spells rather, and you're super squishy. I mean, 8 hit points. If you get a heavy, oh my gosh, I can't speak right now. If you get a heavy hitting mob, you're down. You're down in the hit.
Down hard. All right, now. Next is going to be our gear. What are we wearing? Okay. So that's going to come from a couple of things. What are you proficient in? What armor are you proficient in? What weapons are you proficient in? So as a paladin, I'm proficient in all armor and shields. I'm proficient in all simple weapons and martial weapons. Han, for sorcerer, what are you proficient in?
In terms of weapons or anything?
Armor and weapons.
Armor, none. But weapons, I'm proficient in daggers, darts, slings, quarterstaffs, and light crossbows.
Okay. Now, before we head over to the equipment section of the book, let's just record here from the starting equipment what it is that we're going to be putting into our packs. And that's going to go right down here in equipment. Now, it says here, in your class, you start with the following equipment in addition to the equipment granted by your background, which we've already recorded. So if you haven't, pause the video, head on over to the background section, look up your background, record those items into your inventory. For me, as a paladin, I get to choose this: a martial weapon and a shield, or 2 martial weapons. So I'm going to go with a long sword and a shield. I get to also choose 5 javelins or any simple melee weapon. So I'm going with those 5 javelins. 5 javelins once saved an entire campaign for me. I charged them up with my with a highest level smite and threw them across the room and hit a very powerful enemy that most in my group were unable to get to, and was able to whittle the bad guy down enough for them to come in and put the kibosh on him. 5 javelins will do you good. I can also choose a priest pack or an explorer's pack. I always go for the explorer's pack. Those explorer's packs have inside them all different kinds of, and so do the priest pack, by the way, have inside them all different kinds of materials. Why don't we take a quick look at that now while we're talking about them. Got to find the page number that they're on first, so just bear with me for a moment. Not easy to look at the handbook with a microphone in my face. So, did I tab it? Let me make sure I didn't tab this first. I'm pretty good like that. Yeah, I think I may have. Certainly, yep, equipment packs. Oh, man, this guy, so good. So we're going to go to page 151. That's where your equipment packs are going to be. And let me navigate over to that. Page 151. Here we go, right here, equipment packs. This little inset right here, page 151 of the player's handbook. These are all the different kinds of packs that you can have. Now, your class will tell you if you can have one or a different one, but you can't just pick any pack that you want. For Paladin, I can have a priest pack or an explorer's pack. If I wanted the burglar's pack or the diplomat's pack, I would have to work with my dungeon master to figure out is he going to allow me? Is he or she going to allow me to buy such a thing? And B, is that dungeon master, is he or she going to adhere to these prices? So they tell you the prices of these equipment packs. Remember I said, if you're getting gold from your background, make sure you record it. Now you know if you can afford some of this right out of the gate or not. Hun, for Sorcerer, what kind of equipment packs are you able to get?
You know, I'm not seeing that on mine. I thought I did get an equipment pack, but I'm not seeing it. Maybe
You're not seeing it? Maybe you don't.
Oh, never mind. Now I see it.
There you go.
Okay, so I can get a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. I think usually when you and I play together, you get the Explorer's pack and I get the Dungeoneer's pack, because then we can share the stuff between our characters if we need to.
Yeah.
I like the Dungeoneer's pack because I get like rope in there.
Yeah.
I think I get a couple of like lockpick cut type things.
Yeah, it's good. So the Dungeoneers pack includes a backpack, a crowbar, a hammer, 10 pitons, which are like cylindrical metal objects with like a wedge on the end. It's kind of like a stake or an anchor for a tent. 10 torches, a tinderbox, 10 days of rations, and a water skin. Also has 50 feet of hempen rope strapped to the side of it. So the Dungeoneers pack is really awesome. The Explorers pack includes a backpack, a bedroll, a mess kit, a tinderbox, 10 torches, 10 days of rations, and a water skin. Also 50 feet of hempen rope. So good stuff. I always like to record here as well the page number.
No, I was just doing that.
Yeah. It's a tiny little thing, but man, does it save so much time when you're trying to play the game. All right, let's go back to our class and make sure that we've written down everything that we get. Apparently, I get chainmail and a holy symbol. Now, also going to include longsword and shield. Now, we're going to also further record some of this in our let me be careful how I say this. Some of these items are going to have effects on our character sheet in other places. So, for example, I have a longsword and a shield, and I was also told I'm getting chainmail. Okay, that is going to have a direct effect on my armor class, and also down here where my weapons go. So, let's head on over to the equipment section. Hunter, you ready to add in your equipment?
I'm actually doing that right now.
Aha, very good. So the equipment section is on page 143. Okay. Now, it starts to tell you a little bit about equipment, a little bit about gold and exchange rates, which is really really good, by the way, because you're going to be getting throughout your adventures. You'll be getting copper, silver, maybe some electrum, gold, platinum pieces. Okay. Always good to find out what these exchange rates are, because if you're carrying, these all have weights associated to them as well. Now, I've never met a dungeon master in my life that was like, okay, you're carrying, a ton of copper on you and it's weighing you down. I've never found that before, but you might have that dungeon master, or you might want to be that dungeon master. And there's a reason why you'd want to be that guy. So you can have these exchange rates in place. So you can have your players thinking about these exchange rates. You've got 5,000 copper on you. Why don't we go someplace to maybe a bank and let's exchange it for 5 platinum pieces? Okay? And then and you can now fit more into your pack. And it just kind of makes the world feel a little bit more real. I've never seen that before in my life. Probably never will. But I might decide to be that guy. Because it just makes the world feel more real. Anyway, if you ever want to know about exchange rates, they're right here on page 143 of the Player's Handbook. Now, it goes further on into explaining the different types of armor that you can wear and what shields do, and all that, and then it starts getting into the stuff that we're looking at now, which are the tables for armor and weapons. Now, it's my class section told me that in my equipment section I am getting what? Chainmail. And haha, it's right here in the table. Okay. Chainmail is worth 75 gold. Its armor class is 16. That's the number we're looking for. I have to have at least 13 strength in order to wear it. And where's my strength? Right here. Top, I have 18, so I can wear it. If I were to try and sneak around, I would have disadvantage on any stealth checks, and it weighs 55 pounds. So, what are we going to do? We are going to take that armor class, and we're going to put it right here. Boop. That's it. That's the number enemies have to roll in order to hit me. A 16. But wait, there's more, he said. I'm also given what? Not just chainmail as a paladin, but also a shield. And shields are listed under armor right here. Shields are worth 10 gold, and they also add 2 to my armor class. So if my shield is on my arm, that 16 goes to an 18. Bango. All right. So this is what I'm wearing. My armor class. So now that I know what I'm wearing, I know what my armor class is. It's an 18. Excuse me. There's some other details here. Let's fill them in real quick. Our initiative is going to be a transfer of our dexterity modifier. So my dexterity modifier is a 0, just like me as a human being. And then our speed. I'm a human, so my speed is going to be a 30. My wife is a half elf. Her speed will be 30 as well. This doesn't really change. There is, well, let me put it this way. It's most races have a speed of 30. Most races. You will see in your race description if it's 35 or greater. Most are 30. Go ahead.
My centaur had a 40, but she gallops.
See? If you're a centaur, you could be a galloping at a speed of 40 as well. And we're going to go down to weapons. All right, now we've got a nice description here. Be familiar with weapon properties, because whether your weapon is considered a finesse weapon, a heavy weapon, light, or so on and so forth, will have it'll mean something when you're wielding it. I'm gonna show you that in just a second here. For me, as a weapon, I am proficient in and will receive a martial weapon. What I like to get are the long swords. Where are you? Longsword. Here we go. Okay. Now, remember I told you about weapon properties? It's coming up. A longsword is worth 15 gold. It does 1d8 slashing damage. We're going to record that on our character sheet. Attacks and spellcasting. Okay. Longsword. Attack bonus. The attack bonus is going to be your strength modifier if you're wielding a melee weapon. In this case, it's a +4. Damage. Slashing. Okay. Now, let's make a note down here. Longsword. It's a versatile weapon. What does that mean? If I put my shield away and I hold my longsword with 2 hands instead of 1, it goes from a D8 damage to a D10 damage. Okay. So, longsword, I put my strength modifier in here as my attack bonus, and it's a 1d8. Let's put in slashing. All right. And then I made a note down here, the longsword is a versatile weapon, 1d10 damage on that. Okay. That takes care of page number 1. And page number 2 is all about spells.
Wait, honey, how do you get that attack bonus again?
So for a melee weapon, you take your attack bonus is just your strength modifier. Oh, and then you add your proficiency bonus to it, actually. I forgot about that.
You always do? So like it's at least going to be 2.
As long as you are proficient in the weapon, you add your proficiency bonus.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. So at level 1, it's going to be the strength modifier plus the proficiency bonus. All right. I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I will be right back. All right, and we're back. So, thanks for hanging out with us for this long. Thank you for the 5-minute break there. Now we're going to what we're going to do is we're going to move on over. Now that page 1 is filled out, we're going to move on over to page 2. Now, don't get intimidated. This is not as difficult as it looks. What we're really going to be doing is we're going to be looking at your spellcasting ability, spell save DC, and your spell attack bonus. Okay, your spellcasting class. If you are a spellcaster, put that in. What class are you? Me, I'm a paladin. What's your spellcasting ability? For me, that's charisma. For Jenny as a sorceress, that's charisma as well. Your spell save DC and the spell attack bonus. Now, this is going to be listed in your class. So head on back down to your class. And for Paladin, this is the information for Paladin. But you're going to find this pretty much in every single class. And what is this? So it tells you exactly, you have to figure out your spell save DC. Okay? You have to figure that out. But it tells you how to do it. You add, so for Paladin, okay, and Jenny's going to tell us hers as well.
Hold on, I fell behind because I didn't download this particular sheet that you sent me. So give me a minute.
All right. Can you at least well, I can do it too.
Okay, I'm here.
You got it? So for me, for Paladin, my spell save DC, and what does DC mean? That means your dice check. Okay? How do I calculate that? Let's start over here. Spellcasting ability. It tells me for Paladins, charisma is your spellcasting ability for your Paladin spells, since their power derives from the strength of your convictions. Use your charisma whenever a spell refers to your spellcasting ability. In addition, you use your charisma modifier when setting the saving throw DC for a Paladin spell you cast when making an attack roll with one. So, what is the spell save DC? It is the number that your enemies must hit in order to save against or not be damaged by your spells. I'll give an example in a minute. How do we calculate it? It's 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your ability modifier. In this case, it's charisma. So 8 plus 2 plus, what's my charisma modifier? 4. Okay, so Hun, for you, what is your spell save DC say for sorcerer?
It's going to be 13. So for me, it's going to be 8 plus 2 plus 3.
Got it. So for Jenny, she's adding the 8 plus 2, which is her proficiency bonus, and that's found right up here. That's going to change as you level up. You can find this on your class as well, like we talked about earlier. And then, so 8 plus 2 is 10. And then her charisma modifier is 3. She gets 13. For me, it's a 14. So we're going to put that right here. Spell save DC, 14. All right, so let's say I cast a spell at an enemy. The enemy's got to roll 14 or higher in order to not be affected or take less damage. Okay? That's what a spell save is. All right. Now, spell attack modifier. That's the next bonus. That's the next That's the next number. This is the number that we're using as I'm going to attack with a spell. I roll a d20, and then I'll use this spell attack bonus to add to my d20 roll. So it's my proficiency bonus, which is 2, plus my charisma modifier, which is 4, for a total of 6. Hun, what's your spell attack bonus?
It's just the proficiency bonus. It's very tiny on your screen.
Yeah.
Plus the charisma modifier. All right, so mine's going to be 5.
5. Okay. All right. Next, we're going to go back over to our page 1, and we're going to list out any feats, or, well, hold on. Take a look at your character sheet and make sure that, or I should say, take a look at your class in the player's handbook, and make sure that you are listing out all of the various feats that you might be receiving from your class. And the way you do this is you start from just underneath the equipment and just kind of go through it a little bit, okay? At level 1, I will receive Divine Sense. Okay. Play page 84 of the player's handbook. Lay on Hands. And then after that, it talks about Divine Smite. I get that starting at level 2. So, we'll hold off. We're not level 2 yet. When we get to level 2, we'll come back. And we'll start adding in more. The Paladin does not receive spells until level 4, I think. No, second level. Second level. By second level, you have learned to draw on Divine Magic. Okay, so spellcasting comes at level 2, as well as a fighting style. So I'm not going to touch any of that yet. For others, it might be different. And certainly for Jenny, it's completely different. So let's head on over to the sorcerer area. And let's see what we can do about spells for her. All right, page 99 is where sorcery begins. Now, at level 1, okay, we're going to look at this this table here. At level 1, it's telling you what features you get. She gets spellcasting immediately at level 1 and a sorceress's origin. She will know 4 cantrips and 2 first level spells. Okay. So, on your spell sheet, what she's going to do is she's going to go over to the sorcerer section of the spell section of the book. She's going to pick out 4 cantrips and list them here, and 2 first level spells and list them here. Now, back to the table of contents. And we're going to find the spell section, which is page 207, chapter 11. Okay. Now, first, in alphabetical order by class, it lists what spells each class gets. So we're going to go down to sorcerer spells. It starts with cantrips, which is a level 0 spell, and then first level, and so on and so forth. Second, third, etc., etc. Now, these spell descriptions are listed further down, and they're in alphabetical order. So, for example, one cantrip for a sorcerer that Jenny could choose is Acid Splash. Okay, well that sounds interesting, but what the heck is Acid Splash? So let's scroll down to the spell description area, and it's right here. And it gives you all the information you ever want to know about Acid Splash. It counts as one action. It's got a 60-foot range. It's instant instead of a wait time, and then it gives you a description. You hurl a bubble of acid, choosing a creature within range, or choose 2 within range that are within 5 feet of each other. A target must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 1d6 acid damage. And then the spell's damage increases as you level up. And so every single spell in D&D is listed here in alphabetical order. So what do you do in order to choose your cantrips and your first level spells? Just go to the spell area of your book, find your class, look at the list for cantrips and first level spells, and just pick. So, Hun, what cantrips are you picking right now?
So I'm going to go with Firebolt, Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, and Light.
Nice. Firebolt, Ray of Grasp. Is that what you said?
Ray of Frost,
Ray of
and then
Frost.
Shocking Ray of Grasp.
Shocking Frost and Ray of Grasp.
Shocking Frost. Yeah, that's what we're having right now in New York in April.
Ray of Frost, Shocking Grasp, Firebolt, and what else?
Light.
Light. All right. Light be with you. And have you had a chance to figure out your first level spells yet?
Yep, I'm going to go with Burning Hands and Magic Missile.
Awesome. Now, for any of you who might be wondering, well, what the heck is Shocking Grasp, right? Well, let's go down to the letter S's, where that might be. Where Shocking Grasp may be found. Shape Change, Shield, Shillelagh, Shocking Grasp. You can find Shocking Grasp right underneath Shillelagh. It's a single action on touch, so the range is at touch. So you have to be within melee range and actually touch a creature. It happens instantaneously. And this is the description. Lightning springs from your hand to deliver a shock to a creature that you touch. You make a melee spell attack against the target. You have advantage on the attack roll if the target's wearing armor made of metal. On a hit, the target takes 1d8 lightning damage, and it can't take reactions until the start of its next turn. The damage increases by 1d8 when you reach 5th, 11th, and 17th level. Okay. Any questions? Feel free to ask them right down there in the comments section of the video. Certainly any comments would be wonderful as well. Please, hey, if you're watching this and you found it informative and entertaining, please hit that thumbs up button. Don't forget to follow the channel as well. Han, do you have any questions or anything that you want to offer before we go?
I think just a couple of comments on. We usually call this session 0 of D&D because you're not actually doing any playing necessarily, but it is a really fun time. Like Joe and I try not to look at this as like the work before you get to play. Make your session 0 fun with. We didn't have snacks tonight because we're streaming, but with snacks and music, and just kind of make it chill, and it's a fun time to talk about your character's backstory, and kind of coming up with what you want their personality to be, and all of that is really, really fun to engage with when you're making the character sheets. So even though it is really tedious, I try to kind of just dive in and make it fun in whatever way we can,
Yeah, I find this to be a lot of fun. Everything after this is really just all up to you. So if you're a level 1 character, okay, what you want to do here in the experience point area is you want to just make sure that you indicate that you have 300 experience points to go until you hit level 2. Now, again, you can find that on a table in the very beginning of the book. Let me see if I can grab it for you very quickly. Modifiers. And here we go. That's going to be on page 15 of the player's handbook. So you see right here, level 1, 0 experience points. Okay, but getting to level 2, you need 300. So what you do here for your character sheet is just type in /300. This way you leave space here for a number to write in, or to type in as you're adventuring and you're gaining experience. And then once you hit 300, then you have now become a level 2 character, and getting to level 9 costs 900 experience. You'll notice right here, once you hit level 5, that proficiency bonus goes from 2 to 3. And that means that anything you're proficient in needs to increase. So that means your saving throws, your skills, your attack bonuses will all increase by 1, just by that 1 proficiency bonus changing. So be aware of that. And again, page 15 of the player's handbook will tell you those milestones for experience. Beyond this, folks, your personality traits, your ideals, bonds, flaws, of course, your character name, and anything on page 3 is really up to you. It's up to your imagination. So enjoy that. Let's pull up page 3. Well, this is the books thing. D&D worksheets. I'm getting sleepy, so I'm having a hard time finding it. Character details. Here we go. It was the first one. There we go. This is page 3, and I showed this in the very beginning of the video. Again, all of this is just, it's up to your imagination. So this video is taking care of all the stuff you need to know in order to make your character sheet. But then everything else after that it's really all up to your imagination. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask in the comment section down below. Certainly would love to hear your comments on what you thought of the video. And we stream 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. Monday through Wednesday at 11 p.m. Eastern is Lord of the Rings Online. Thursdays is Dungeons and Dragons Online. And then Friday, right here, can be found at 11 p.m. Eastern is going to be our D&D sessions. And little things like this where we take time to kind of explain how to do certain things in the game. So wherever you are, hit that follow button, whether you're here on Twitch or Kick or YouTube. Join our Discord channel, please. Links are in the Twitch channel as well as on YouTube as well. And I'm on X as well at Paladin's Tavern, so we can connect there socially as well. On Discord too, we connect as well. So hopefully you enjoy this. And Han, you have any final thoughts?
No, just I'm excited to see what these characters do in the new campaign.
Yeah, same. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later. Same. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you later.